I want to just welcome you into the call. What we're going to do tonight is have three different people share for about 10 minutes each. And so um, it's going to go in this order. It's going to be my friend Janelle is going to share. She's going to hop on and then she can hop. You can stay if you want to after you share, Janelle. You can get going. I'm sure your kids want to watch their show again. And then, um, and then Jamie's going to share, and then Joyce will end. So thanks everybody for agreeing to do that. And thank you, the three of you too, for stepping up and modeling for us, like what belief is all about, what commitment and consistency is all about. We really appreciate you taking the time to share with us. So go ahead, Janelle. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for letting me hang out with your team tonight. This is fun to get a glimpse of what other people are doing, and you have a wonderful turnout. So thank you for getting on. So my name is Janelle, and I am married to a Jason. We're Jason and Janelle Johnson. And when before I met my husband, I was a foster parent. And so when we started dating, he knew what he was in for. And so after our 1 year anniversary, we got our first foster placement, and it was an emergency situation. And 3 years later, we finalized 5 adoptions and had a baby and then another baby. So my husband and I have 7 kids, and we have been living a life of faith daily, believing that God is going to provide for our daily needs. And I'm excited to tell you a little bit about how Plexus has played into our story. Um, we had been married for a while, and I was stressed out. Imagine that. I was stressed out and run down, and I was drinking too much coffee, and I was hiding in my closet drinking. I mean, not drinking. I was eating chocolate. I was not an alcoholic. But my kids were stressing me out, and we homeschooled, not necessarily all by choice, but because of trauma and the things that our kids had experienced, that the schools that we had tried weren't a fit for them. And we just felt passionate about having them home, building healthy attachments and things like that. So that was huge for us. My husband was a pastor at the time, and so imagine he was gone a lot. And so he would come home and I would be like, "You can't go anywhere anymore. I need you." I saw my friend Melody posting about Plexus. So I reached out to her and I said, "Just tell me what to buy. I don't want to talk about it. Just help me through the process." So I placed my order. And bless her for taking very good care of me, because I don't think I was an easy person to take care of. She knew that finances were a struggle for me. I started selling junk out of my basement, baby clothes, an armoire, a table we didn't need, and I used that money to pay for my products. But I did not want to make a Plexus post on Facebook. But after she followed up with me so many times, she was like, "Janelle, if you just got a handful of friends that wanted to try the products with you, you'd be able to pay for your products." And so, November to Remember 2015, I made my first Plexus post, and I was very nervous. I had Melody proofread it, I put it up there, and I had friends that trusted me. I shared my story and they cared what I had to say, and they reached out and and asked me questions, and I was able to earn this November to Remember bonus, which we usually have some amazing incentives around that time. When I got my paycheck the following month, I was amazed that we had some money to buy Christmas presents for our kids. Like, that was a huge deal for us. We were huge thrifters. Everything we owned was secondhand, and we were on food stamps, and it was so tight. And I just knew that this could just be an extra cushion for our family if I kept sharing on a regular basis. You guys, my posts were messy. I did not have a perfectly curated anything. And I just posted from my heart. I shared what I was learning and posted pictures of our family and told our story along the way. Um, then 6 months later, oh, one thing that I really wanted was a sectional, and that was my first big purchase. That was really exciting. I wanted a cushion for each of our kids so that nobody had to share when we were watching a movie or having devotions. So that was a huge part of our story, and that was exciting and inspiring to me because I love nice things. That was fun. But 6 months later, really, our world turned upside down. Trauma that our kids had experienced just kind of exploded in our faces, and we went through some very hard things. And my husband resigned from his role as a pastor because he knew that he needed to be home to care for our kids and that they needed his attention. He started working part-time for my brother's business, and we just believed and trusted God that somehow he was going to grow our Plexus income to be able to provide full time for our family. It wasn't easy and it wasn't beautiful, but we were faithful to work hard, just believing that more money was going to come in every month. And friends joined us and they wanted to provide for their families. And it was a beautiful, beautiful thing to see how something that I wanted to say no to, that I was probably too prideful in the beginning to want to be a part of a network marketing company. But it's truly humbling to see God provide for our family in such an incredible way. A few years later, we sold our home and we moved north so we could live near my mom and dad because they're a huge support for our family. I went Emerald that year. The following year, Sapphire. My husband went Emerald. And here we are a few years later. And the biggest blessing and the biggest gift to our family is really not the extras, but it really is the freedom to be able to be there for our kids in a time where they needed us most. And I am friends with many adoptive families and I'm on many Facebook pages. And I see the heartbreak that families go through and the hard storms that they have to weather, and some don't make it through. And I am so grateful that we were able to truly keep all of our kids under one roof, and they have been healing and they have been growing. They're 13 through 23 now. And so it's a different kind of roller coaster. And God has been faithful all these years, and I know He will continue to be. But I am so excited, you guys, about Plexus. I don't know where you are in your journey, whether you are just starting out, or maybe you're in momentum and you're seeing success, or maybe you're in a valley. Maybe you've seen momentum in the past, you've grown a beautiful team, and you've had leaders leave. These are all part of the ebbs and flows of this business. And I just want to encourage you guys that wherever you are, don't quit. There's always more to learn. There's always going to be people who need what you have to offer, whether it's the products, and they are life changing. You guys, Plexus is like no other company. I was not a health nut before I joined Plexus, and I didn't actually care about ingredients, but I knew I felt better. But I am working with people who care about ingredients and they want to be putting healthy things in their bodies. And I'm that way now too. But I'm saying it was a journey for me. And I love Plexus. I am so proud of the way they formulate their products. I often look up every line on PubMed just to see what it's all about because that's what builds my belief. And I just want to encourage you wherever you are on this journey, keep going. And I want you to think about the people who really need this. I think about Melody and what if she never posted on Facebook? Or what if she never followed up with me when I was grumbling and saying that it was too much money or that I would never be one of those Plexus people. And so I hope that encourages you today if you're working with a skeptic or three, that sometimes they just need to get through that that obstacle of belief. And I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful for Plexus. So thank
Oh,
you.
thank you. It was so inspiring. And I can only imagine how good it felt that first Christmas to be able to provide those gifts for your family. That must have been the best feeling in the world. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions before we let Janelle continue with us or leave, whatever you need to do? Thank you so much. Really appreciate you. Thanks. All right. Um, Jamie, you
Whoops.
ready? Where are you? There you
Okay. Sorry, I hit the wrong button.
go.
Um, Janelle, thanks so much for sharing that story because as somebody who has not been doing this for very long, I feel like it's inspiring to hear people who have been doing it for like a decade and to hear the trajectory of how it progresses and that it's like a slow burn. I think sometimes we look at you guys and we're like, wow, they're so successful at it. And it's like hard to envision yourself being there in 10 years. So it is helpful to hear other people's stories. So thank you very much. From a fellow mom who would eat chocolate in the closet. So anyway, when Marion said on her voice message in the team chat today that I would be sharing on social media, I was kind of like, well, this is kind of ironic because I was not even on social media before I started sharing Plexus, which really wasn't that long ago. I mean, it was like August of last year. So, being on social media has not been natural for me or a confident space like at all. So, some of the tension I felt when I was getting on social media because I knew that I was getting on it for the intention of plexus. But I was kind of feeling this inner tension that I did not want people to think that I was just talking to them with an agenda or suddenly just show up on social media selling things. So, and plus I thought like, do even people honestly care what I'm doing? Because like what I'm doing just does not really seem all that significant for other people to even care. So, I guess I started actually talking to ChatGPT and just trying to figure out like what kind of audience was I looking to connect with. So I basically just like babbled on about my whole decade-long health journey and asked it for help, like kind of just targeting in on the group of people who I would probably connect with most. And so that ends up being, women in their mid to late 40s navigating perimenopause, maybe somebody who's been on a really long health journey on their own that can be frustrating and lonely at times. And just deciding that that was probably who I was going to connect with when I was posting things on social media. So I am a very disciplined person. So that led me down a ton of different health rabbit holes, like wellness rabbit holes that I dove deep into and I committed because like when I commit to something, I am like all in. So that was kind of where the evolution started for my ideas with the social media posting I've been doing called my Crunchy Confessions. So it's basically just me reflecting on all of the crazy health trends that I have followed over the last 10 years and how I have finally gotten to a place now where I have tried to still embrace a lot of those principles, but simplify them so they actually work in like a normal person's life and don't just sound neurotic to somebody who, is like, you're doing what? And it's just, it wasn't sustainable for me either, but they seemed like totally appropriate at the time. They seemed necessary at the time because I was just like on a constant battle of just trying to like fix myself, and like figure out what was the problem what was going to be the magic ticket that was going to like just fix my issues. So I literally just started making a bullet point list with some help from my family about all of the crazy things I've done because, they remember them too because they got um, involved in them just as much as I did because I was the cook in the house. So if I changed my cooking style, everybody suffered. So, and then I still will remember things here and there. And as I think of them, I just add them to my bullet list. And then whatever I decide to share on social media first, it kind of is just, I go with my gut. What I'm feeling that I want to share is what I end up sharing about. I was super scared to post at first because I had no idea what I was doing. Like, I had no idea how to write a post. I had no idea what hashtags meant. I had no idea, like, what are captions for? How do you edit a video? How do you, put text in your video? Like, all of it. I was just like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. And so I started on Facebook. I watched a bunch of YouTube videos on like how people created content, and my perfectionism just kept telling me like I shouldn't post until I figured it out. Like I figured out how to make the polished post, and until I could do that, I just wasn't going to post anything. So I overthought literally everything. I overthought what happens if it falls completely flat and nobody watches it? What happens if people make unkind comments about it? I really had to just get over that and hit post. And that was really hard. So I guess when I made my videos, I really wanted it to feel relatable for people. I wanted it to make people laugh. And I wanted them to learn something small in the process about health and wellness. And mostly I wanted it to feel authentic and like me. So, hopefully down the road that leads to trust with people, and hopefully that will lead to building more customers, if I can just connect with people authentically. So what happened after I started posting? Well, I didn't get any negative comments. So there was one thing. And I actually had people commenting saying, "Oh, this is so relatable." And, it that just was funny to me because I thought I had gone off the deep end on most of this stuff. So to hear that other people had also done the same was like, "Oh, okay, maybe I wasn't as crazy as I thought." It started just some like fun strings of banter back and forth with some people that I had no idea who were kind of crunchy, but they would tell me there were similar crazy things they tried. Like one lady ended up making yogurt in the trunk of her car by accident because she spilled some raw milk back there and didn't clean it all up. And, it just started some fun conversations. Um, I had one friend come up to me at church and be like, "You're hysterical." And I was like, Me? Huh? And that same person was like, "I see a lot of followers in your future." And I was kind of like, all right. But the truth is, like, I really don't have that many followers, but I'm learning that that's okay because most of my crunchy confessions, they get less than 500 views, but those are still real people. And if I can impact just a few people and inspire them in some way, teach them something, then it's worth it to me. So, from the Crunchy Confessions videos, which were a little bit longer, I decided that there was probably some value in just throwing out some like shorter, quick tips. So that was where my idea for the Crunchy Bites came from, which was just meant to be like a short little tip or trick, which just is really something that I'm doing that I'm like, oh, well, maybe somebody doesn't think to do this. And so I'll just make a quick video and do a voiceover or something on it and post it. And those actually perform better than my Crunchy Confessions videos because they're shorter. And I'm also learning that different platforms, like things perform differently on different platforms. So like the longer videos actually perform better on Facebook. The shorter videos perform better on Instagram. Um, and the shorter videos are a little bit easier for me to produce. They're a little bit faster and just a little bit less intimidating to produce. Um, let's see. Oh, my most surprising win, I guess, was a video that I posted on how to cook a whole chicken in an Instant Pot and like from fresh or frozen and then make bone broth afterwards. And I was kind of like, really? Like this is the one that's, people are really connecting with. But I had one lady come up to me at church and she was like, I'm gonna make a chicken in my Instant Pot now because I only ever knew how to make hard-boiled eggs in there and nothing else. And I was like, oh, that's great. I'm glad to hear it. Um, so the first video that I did honestly took forever because again, I told you I had no idea what I was doing. So between the figuring out how to use all the tools and like edit the video and then my perfectionism telling me like, oh, I should tweak this, I should tweak that, it's not good enough, whatever. Um, I'm learning to build some efficiencies into it. So as I use the tools more, it gets faster. And then I've also learned to use ChatGPT to help me like write a script for them because the first video I did, I was literally trying to organize all my thoughts in a cohesive way and it took forever. So now I'll just turn on like the voice prompting thing in ChatGPT and I'll just babble and tell it my like, here's what I did. I'll tell it all the crazy things I did and like what I want people to get out of it and take away from it. And then I'll just ask it to help me like summarize what I just said into a shorter script. So that's been super helpful. And then I'll fine tune it from there. And I'm also learning to say like it's good enough and post it rather than just because people aren't actually paying attention to the things that I think they're going to notice. So part of that is just me getting over myself. So I guess the point for me doing this is to add value to people's lives because I'm at a point in my life now where I don't have littles anymore who need me quite as much. And during that season, my relationships kind of like friendships really fell by the wayside because I was just all consumed with kids and like what they needed. And so now I'm at a point where that's what I'm craving in my life is just relationship with people and reestablishing friendships. So this is one way that I'm trying to be intentional about connecting with people again to just reestablish friendships and um, just doing it by showing up and connecting without pressure. I'm still learning as I go, still always learning something new, but I am glad that I didn't wait until I was ready because I probably would have talked myself out of it just about every single time. I started scared, but now I can push that post button without hovering my finger over it for 3 minutes and overthinking it. And hey, there's a win. So, and like I said, I haven't gotten one negative comment. So, anyway, I just hope that even though I'm new to this and even what I'm sharing feels just very elementary to me, but maybe it will help somebody realize that, like, even if you feel like whatever you're doing is insignificant, you probably have something to offer somebody in the form of connection, even if it just seems silly to you. So that's my take on social media.
That was awesome. Thanks, Jamie.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So now, has everyone seen her crunchy confessions? Because you have to go. I didn't know you were on Instagram. Now I have to go find
Well,
it.
I started on Facebook and then I was like, well, I guess I probably need to go on Instagram. And then it was a whole nother overwhelm thing like, oh God, now I have to figure out how to do this one too.
Next week you'll be on TikTok. It's going to be great.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
That was awesome. Okay, we are learning so much tonight. Joyce, what do you have for us?
Well, once I can unmute. So thanks, Jamie, for sharing your social media stuff. And you never know who you're going to impact. I had a friend of Jackie's tell Jackie that she loves my stuff. And I'm like, great, I love it. Um, anyhow, so the first thing that I want to do tonight, and it ties into the training, is we're going to do a type of breath work called 4-7-8. We're going to do three of these breaths because when we do a 4, 7, and 8 breath, we're activating our vagus nerve. So it's inhale for 4, hold for 7, and breathe out for 8. And if you can't get to the 8 breathe out, that's fine. Just hold 2 beats longer than the inhale. So I'm going to count it out for us, okay? So inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank you so much for breathing along. Hopefully you felt your shoulders drop just a hair. And what we're going to talk about tonight is why identity rewiring matters in gut health. So it's for us and for our customers. We don't just help people balance their gut microbiome, we help them stop biologically reinforcing illness. If a client is taking supplements and constantly saying, I'm broken, their nervous system is still going to live in threat mode. Stanford completed a study where researchers tracked thousands of people with identical health markers, same inflammation, same genetic risk, same environmental exposure, and the outcome 10 years later was how they identified themselves. So if people were managing a condition, they had a better outcome than people who were saying, I'm diabetic, I'm autoimmune. Those people had worse outcomes. Same bodies, different identities, different trajectories. Identity is not motivational fluff. It's biological input into our brains. When someone says I'm sick, their brain hears, I am under threat. What does the brain do when it's under threat? Releases cortisol, which we hate, suppresses immune function, which is horrible, increases inflammation, alters gut microbiome activity, which I did not know that, impairs digestion. In other words, the body starts matching the identity. I'm sick, the body says I'm sick, so it becomes sick. The brain can't separate expectation from reality very well. We know about placebo, right? Everybody knows placebo. Positive expectation improves outcome. Nocebo is the opposite. Negative expectation activates the same brain regions as actual pain and illness. So if a client expects decline, they're going to get decline. If they expect symptoms, if they expect failure, their body gives it to them. It responds that way. It's not mindset hype. This is all neuroscience. And we all know about confirmation bias, right? When someone adopts a sick identity, they start collecting evidence unconsciously. They notice every symptom. They forget symptom-free days. They focus on discomfort. They catastrophize minor fluctuations. So instead of saying, how's your bloating, we're going to start saying, how did your body cooperate this week? We shift what the brain scans for. Doesn't scan for bloating, scans for cooperation, because what you scan for is what you strengthen. In Stanford, they did in their mind and body lab, they found something fascinating. People strongly identified with their diagnosis. You get a diagnosis, diabetes. They had 3 times higher inflammatory markers than those who saw it as temporary. Just fascinating. Same diagnosis, same severity, same treatment, different levels of inflammation based on the mind. The diagnosis doesn't determine the inflammation, identity did. We help balance blood sugar, we support microbiome diversity, we lower inflammation, but if a client constantly activates stress chemistry with their identity, we're just swimming upstream. It's beyond hard to do anything. So reframing, when we help our clients reframe how they think about their concerns, we're going to lower their stress level, we're going to support their nervous system regulation, and we're going to enhance the supplement response. The supplements work better. Plexus works better in a regulated body. Identity work regulates the body. This takes us from product pushers to nervous system awareness coaches, which I love that. We can increase retention, increase belief, decrease the "this isn't working" drop off, and create transformation stories, not just symptom reduction. And midlife women, especially, they've been rehearsing decline narratives for decades. We need to interrupt that. So instead of, "Are you still tired?" where have you noticed small energy improvements? Instead of, "Are your symptoms gone?" what's responding in your body? Instead of, "Has it worked yet?" what evidence do you see that your body is cooperating? We're going to retrain, we got to retrain the brains in real time as they're taking the supplements. We're not in the business of reinforcing broken. We're not here to nod sympathetically while women rehearse decline. We're not here to hand someone supplements while they keep saying, "This is just how I am." We're here to interrupt that story. Because identity drives biology. Biology responds to leadership. And every time a client says, "My body hates me," we have a choice. We can agree with that narrative, or we can say, "Your body's asking for support." All those things are messages that your body is trying to tell you something. Let's give it some good tools to help it respond. Midlife women, we've been told it's hormonal, it's aging, it's stress, it's genetic, it's inevitable. This is just how it is. No, it's not that way. It's adaptable. We don't dismiss reality. We don't gaslight pain. We don't promise magic. We're going to teach regulation, ownership, and growth identity, and we're going to change trajectories. If two people have the same diagnosis and the only difference is identity, then teaching identity isn't optional, it's responsible. So we can help a client say, "I'm managing this," instead of "I am this." We can lower that stress chemistry. We can lower inflammation. We can increase resilience. We can increase retention. We increase results for our clients. It's not mindset fluff, it's biological leverage. We're not just sharing products. We're not just stabilizing nervous systems. We're shifting stress loads. You're going to help women step out of the decline narratives that they've rehearsed for decades. It's big, sacred, it's disruptive, and it matters. So when you walk into the next conversation, don't shrink and say, "Just check it in." Stand in, because you help women rebuild their gut and rewire how they show up in their bodies, how they speak about their bodies. Because when identity shifts, inflammation shifts, energy shifts. When energy shifts, confidence shifts. And when confidence shifts, lives change, people. So let's just not move products. Let's move identity. We're going to heal the gut and free the life. That's it, man. I have a guide too. So if you want a guide to give to your clients, I have a guide that I started out with. It's like a 90-day mindset guide and a coaching book for you so you can work through the guide with your client.
Wow.
Chat GPT.
Thanks, Joyce. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
You and I have very similar personalities in the way that we love to help people flip the script and
Yes.
like
Yes.
overcome that and change their mindset and see the positive. Like
Right.
that. But because it does make an impact.
It's huge. It's huge.
It's science.
It's huge. It's nice. Well, and this all started because I have a customer. I was talking to Dawn about my customer, and I said she will never get better if she doesn't stop saying I am this, because she won't.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where this coaching thing came up with, and I have that client in this coaching. She's one of my test people in this coaching thing. So
Awesome. Well, you're gonna have to do a follow-up with us and let us know how it all is evolving as you go. But that
yeah.
was very good information. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Janelle. You inspired us. Jamie, you gave us some really practical tips. And Joyce, you made us really rethink how we're doing this thing. So I really appreciate you guys so much. Great call. Love you guys. Look for your special gift in the mail. Thank you. And Joyce, you'll get that to us, however.
Yeah, I'm going to put the guide and the coaching information in the team chat.
Perfect. Awesome.
Can I
Okay.
add one thing to that?
Yeah.
Joyce, have you ever heard of the Oak app, OAK?
The what?
Oak app, OAK.
Mm-mm.
I use it every night. It's a 10 minutes and it guides you through that exact breathing pattern that you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do all kinds of breathing.
Yeah, it is super helpful.
Yeah, the 478. So when you do that, you activate your vagus nerve, which your vagus nerve is putting you in a parasympathetic state versus the sympathetic state. And like, I've got a whole nother presentation on that if you're ever interested. So
Yeah, well, I do it every night laying on the ground with my legs up the wall, and
Yep.
I hear all kinds of digestive gurgling happening. So it's
Yep.
great for digestion.
Yep, that is the vagus nerve. When you activate your vagus nerve, you've activated your digestion,
Yeah.
which is what the 478 is doing. 100%. So, all right. Thank you.